Welcome to the channel, guys. Here you'll see the E30 is there and running. I'm going to give you an update. The last video was well, about 4 months ago. I've owned the car now for 6 months, so I guess you could consider this like a 6-month ownership review of the E30. I'm going to talk about in this video what's gone wrong with the E30, what further mods I've done to the E30, any issues I've had, how I'm finding it, am I loving it, am I hating it, etc, etc. And I'm going to a very quick look at the other cars as well, some of the other cars, so they're not all here at the moment, ones that work and one's away. Right, so let's crack on. So yeah, this is my 1989 BMW 325i Sport. It is a genuine sport. You can see it's running at the moment. All the lights are on. So I'm going to get in. Just give the car a few revs so you can hear what it sounds like. It's a straight 6, and then we'll start going around the car and talking about what it's been like. So yeah, welcome to good old classic BMW E30. I will turn the lights off now. I just had them on just for the starting of the video. So you can see it's idling about 700-750 RPM. With some revs. Straight 6, beautiful sounding car. We'll shut that off now. I'll close this, and so yeah, so first of all, welcome to the interior of a 1989 BMW E30. See, it's a manual, 5-speed on the 325i. Storage wise, obviously, though this is a small car by modern standards, in the interior there is so much room. A lot of that, I mean, look how like thin this door is. It's like literally, you know, they don't, very basic but very adequate and perfect. Anyone who's keen-eyed will notice that the digital clock has gone. I think this is more befitting of the era. So I have an analog clock and that is working. The non-factory is obviously this radio and CD player, which works. Let's talk interior issues. Obviously I bought the car, they all crack here. This one did have a crack. Thankfully it's not that big. I do need to, that's a job for next year, is to try to sort the dash crack before the whole thing cracks. Storage wise, you have quite a sizable glove box. Got like stuff like spare bulbs and fuses, like that kind of stuff there, all the kind of stuff that you generally have in one of these cars. You have door pockets. Of course, this is from the 90s. So you have ashtrays. In fact, you have 2 of them, I think. Yep. In the 90s, everybody was smoking. There's the second ashtray, and of course, the keen-eyed cassette holders. Because obviously the original stereo in this BMW E30 would have been a cassette player. So yeah, that's the... I'll get out so you can see the interior and the seats better. Obviously these cars are mega comfy. Oh yeah, there's the interior of the E30. You can actually carry 4 adults in relative comfort, and there are back seats. And so if I can get this back there, both the front seats are at their maximum back, and there's still reasonable leg room in there. Say safety features on one of the car this, you have seat belts. I don't think this is an airbag car. No, I don't think there's an airbag. That's just a horn. It doesn't work when it's off. And of course, oh yeah, let me also show you, because another thing of the 90s was that these, oh, I've just yeah, slow motion wipers. Let's just get them off. Oh, sorry, car. There we go. You had, obviously, a sunroof, as you can see here, which I have at the moment on the slightly up. But if I do this and do this again, you can actually open that sunroof fully. I remember as a kid when my dad had a similar type of car, he took me to Blackpool Illuminations and I would stand in the middle here with my head out the window looking at all the illuminations driving down the high street at the Blackpool Illuminations, as it's called in the UK, or Christmas lights. The other thing you have as well is the onboard computer. Let's just shut the sunroof up. You have the onboard computer, tells you if there's anything wrong. So if I press the brake pedal, the light will go out. It's just to test the brakes. You got your sun visors. Passenger gets a mirror. I'm not sure what the driver gets, not a lot. This car's equipped with AC. That does not work. That's why it has this here. That is also a job for next year. So jobs that I guess I can point out from the interior, which are next year's agenda to fix, is the dash crack. That's obviously something I can't do myself. And the AC is to get that up and running. I found a company in the UK who can recondition the AC system to take modern gas. So that would be great. So let's step out of the vehicle and show you what else there is. I guess first of all, I'll show you the boot space again. You know, it's quite a small car, as you've seen. For what is a small car by modern day standards, there's plenty of room on the inside, and also you have a very sizable boot on an E30. So it's a very practical car. It's why they were such popular cars. So I'm going to go into the bonnet now, as I'm just going to detail some of the stuff I've done. So obviously the last video I did with the car was when we took the car to Tiger Run, to a dyno run. Obviously the car felt quite a lot down on power. I estimated it was probably about 130-ish when I got it. I have done a hell of a lot of work on the car since owning it. Let me think. Don't want to repeat too much what I put in one of my previous videos, but in short, the car's had a major service, new spark plugs, new dizzy cap, new dizzy arm, new leads, new fuel filter, new fuel pressure, doodah, set up the throttle body, new throttle position sensor. That's all fresh. Put a K&N filter in there now. So yeah, as you can see, it's also got a new washer bottle, holds washer, and all that works now. I was going to discuss what problems have I had. I was probably about a month ago, I was driving it, and I was starting to notice when just cruising, the temperature was starting to eke beyond halfway, and I didn't think much of it. And then I parked the car up and went out for another drive, and the temperature eked itself a bit more past halfway, to the point where it nearly hit 3/4 before it then cooled itself back down again. So I got the car home and let it go cold, and the following day I started it up and started running it and watching in the dash, and obviously it gets up to the halfway point on the dash, and this pipe here, which is past your thermostat, was stone cold, even with the engine hot, and all these other pipes here red hot. This was stone cold. What that said to me is that the thermostat was sticking. So I got myself a new thermostat, changed the thermostat, caught the fluid, because obviously it's had all new fresh coolant, got that back in, and that solved that problem. The actual temperature never even reaches halfway anymore. It now generally sticks about a couple of millimeters below the halfway point temperature wise. So yeah, the old thermostat was beginning to stick, so I'm glad I caught that before we actually had an overheating issue. So yeah, new thermostat, Every fluid in the car is brand new. Engine, diff, gearbox, coolant, brake fluid, everything is all fresh. Every filter has been changed. Pretty much absolutely everything. Car drives beautiful. It is so silky smooth. And obviously went to the dyno, it made 152 horsepower. Done the filter since. Also since doing the thermostat, it does seem a little bit more perkier. So obviously the engine, you know, was running a little bit beyond halfway. Hotter engine. I guess it's going to pull a bit of power potentially. So yeah, car drives beautiful. Let me just put the bonnet down because it looks better with it down than it does up. So, but that's the M20 B25 engine. It's a 2.5 litre straight six. It sounds glorious and it just never stops pulling. It's just a beautiful, beautiful engine. So yeah, obviously we did all of that. So the car, now the keen-eyed of you might have noticed, the car is sitting a bit higher than maybe when you last seen it in my videos. Car was previously running a H&R Cup 60/40 suspension, which was extremely low. It was so low to the point that the rear wheels were tucked well into the arches and the front wheels had no arch gap at all. Now you've got the classic, as I call it. Let me demonstrate your 2-finger gap and that there. And the reason we did this is say anybody who watches the dyno video will witness that the car tried to jump off the dyno because one of the chains pulled off the rear damper. But we thought, whilst the damper is off, let's test it. And just for viewing privileges, I actually have that damper in here. Kept it. There's the Corvette, by the way. I have a few videos of that on my channel. People want to go and look at them. So I'm just going to go in here. And you can see here's one of the old H&R dampers. How you test the damper is literally just grab it, put it on the floor, and to push that in should be really difficult. But this is really easy. I'm hardly trying. And that should extend by itself straight away. And as you can see, nothing's happening. So that damper is shot. That's a waste of space. So what have I fitted? Well, I've changed a whole lot. So what we've gone with is a Bilstein B12 Pro Kit, which is Bilstein dampers and IBAC springs. And obviously the result of that is I now have 4 working dampers on the car. That was my head. I now have 4 working dampers on the car. And the car sits a bit higher. So I had an incident many months ago in the car where I think I may have mentioned this, pulled into a car park, and I had my mother and my brother in the back of the car, and there was a bit of a dip actually turning into the car park, and because the front suspension was so low, the front suspension compressed so much that this tyre went in and pulled this arch out. I've since knocked the arch back in, panel beated it back. You can kind of see it. I don't know if it's going to show up in a bit. But there is where the tyre pulled the arch out, and it looked horrendous. But I say I have panel beated that back. I was pretty gutted on the day, but as my girlfriend rightly pointed out, one of the job we've basically agreed is happening next winter. Say the car bulkhead back is very solid. There's no rust, no corrosion, nothing to worry about. Very solid chassis, bulkhead back. However, bulkhead forward, it needs the front jacking points doing properly, and it needs some bulkhead issues addressing. There is a hole in the bulkhead below the glove box, and then we have some minor, can't really see it, but there's some very minor bubbling down there. So yeah, next winter engine's going to come out and the front's going to get properly inspected and any welding as required, and then a pair of new wings will be fitted as well. because we think that these wings are, because they are going from the inside. So again, on this video, if I try to focus, you might be able to see this. This is coming from the inside. There's a bit here as well. So I don't think they're savable. So it's getting a pair of new wings, and the garage that's doing it for me, which is Mick at Yorks, but he has a lot of E33 series shells and chassis, so he can pull good bits off a good shell to do this. And then once that's all done, then it's going to go to JR Brassey in Biddulph, who are going to paint the car. And that. So let's go back to the B12 Pro kit. I guess some of you are interested, how does it ride? Well, obviously the H&R Cup 6040 kit, the dampers were knackered, so it's not too much of a fair comparison, and it was very low. Needless to say now, the feels about the same firmness, but obviously it damps better because the dampers are working, and I'm far less worried about bottoming out. I mean, the other problem with the H&R kit, thankfully it never happened to me, but I've also heard people where they smash their sumps in. I mean, you smash a sump in, you're in big trouble. So yeah, I'm glad to have that suspension off. I bought the suspension directly from Bilstein. I think it was, no, Autodoc. I bought it from Autodoc, one of their promotions. The entire kit was £600 delivered. So a bargain. And that. So yeah, jobs for next year on the inside, as I discussed, was the crack in the dash and get the AC working. The jobs on the outside now, mechanically, I've done everything. I'm going to get the welding done, and then the car will get repainted. Pretty much we're going to paint the entire front end and then blend in. We're probably going to remove the sunroof and just paint that hazing and take the sunroof off and get this dealt with. There's some hazing here. But the rest of the car is absolutely spotless. And that issue, if I can get further enough back. The rest of the car, 1989, makes it a 35-year-old car. In 5 years' time, it'll be free to tax, very cheap to insure, and what's it like? It's an absolute joy to drive, is this thing. So I did pitch on this in my last video, but all the work I've done on it, car feels a lot more alive now. And I think it's probably now about 155-ish, maybe nudging 160. Feels alive, you know. I really enjoy driving it. It's so much fun to drive. And yeah, I mean, if you keep your foot in it, it'll get to 100 quite easily. And you also feel quite safe doing 100 mile an hour in this car. Whereas in the Corvette, which let's go back to, you definitely do not feel safe doing anything remotely near 100 mile an hour in this. Once you go beyond about 80 mile an hour, it feels like the front end's lifting off the ground. But, you know, 1978 this car, and it's, as you can see from here, it's in immaculate condition. So yeah. So for its age, it's a very, very capable car. And I've fallen in love with it. I think that's the only way I can put it. I've absolutely fallen in love with this E30. So it's never broke down, never had an issue with the car, apart from the sticking thermostat, which of course I spotted and I sorted it. And obviously I'm enjoying it because I'm getting to work on a car again. You know, I've pretty much done everything. I've done the majority of work on the car, I've done it myself. So I did the major service myself, spark plugs, oil change, filter change. I've done the valve timing myself, done the coolant change myself, done the thermostat myself. I've fitted all of the B12 Pro suspension myself. Did take the front dampers to Mick at York Sport to obviously, because I don't have heavy duty spring compressors and clamps here, so dropped them off with him for him to dismantle them and rebuilt. And of course when we rebuilt the dampers, we've done it properly. Fronts had brand new top mounts, length order, and the rears had brand new BMW E46 M3 top mounts, because that's the recommended upgrade for these old cars, because the E46 M3 top mounts fit pretty much all BMW generations actually. So yeah, it's all been done. It went for an alignment yesterday at AWJ Jaguar. Andy and the lads there always look after me. Unfortunately, they couldn't make any adjustments because the front tie rods were totally seized. So I've since bought a pair of new tie rods so we can get the front toe dialed in. Front camera was bob on, about 2.2 degrees negative on the front either side. Rear is a bit out, and of course the rear isn't adjustable. So I need to investigate other options for adjusting the rear of the car. But yeah, it dries great in the wet, because obviously we had it on the thing, and we do have some tow out on the passenger side rear, which explains why the car is quite lively in the wet if you give it a bit of throttle, because it's towing out on one side. But makes for a bit more fun. But yeah, I shall endeavour to get that done. We're also going to check all the rear arms are straight and not bent. Going to check there's no failed bushes back there, because it might just be a case that there's a bush that's perishing or weaker on one side than the other, or it may all be fine and we just need to look at maybe slotting some holes and getting some eccentric bolts so we can adjust the camber that way and the tow. So yeah, I absolutely love it. It's been brilliant. I say the last time I probably worked in a car so in depth, I did my Honda S2000. I fitted Öhlins suspension to that, serviced it and everything myself. And then before that, it would have been my Mustangs. Oh yeah, that is the BMW E30. You know, it is a truly epic, amazing car. I really, really recommend them. Just can't beat it. It's so much fun in this day and age to drive, because yeah, I've just uploaded a video about the GR Yaris and its safety systems and its speed limiters and all that kind of annoying stuff that, you know, whenever you get in a modern car these days, enthusiast drivers get in and turn it all off. Oh, but yeah, that's the E30. Great car. Just trying to think of what yeah, so you know, the E30 safety wise, you've got seat belts and ABS. That's it. Do I not feel safe when I drive it? No, I feel very safe when I drive that car. You know, it feels well put together. It feels a properly built car. I feel safe. So yeah, as always guys, we say we're now over 1,000 subscribers. Any questions about the E30 or any recommendations, feel free to comment. It's, you know, it's great to get some advice, because obviously there are people who, these are road cars, there's people with a lot more knowledge on them than myself, so any advice is appreciated. And obviously on the opposite end, if anyone's just got one and is looking for advice, I'll always do my best to help. E30 Zone is a great place to check out. But yeah, the E30, it is an awesome car. I mean, it looks amazing. Whenever I'm driving this, the amount of heads it turns is crazy. So just goes to show you don't need to drive around in a Ferrari if you want to get attention, because that old thing really cracks heads. It is a superb car. I'm over 1,000 subscribers now, so I just want to thank everybody who has subscribed to the channel. It's really appreciated. And to those who haven't subscribed, well, please hit that subscribe button and give me a thumbs up. As always, thank you for watching, and as always, sorry to go on a bit, but it's hard trying to remember all the work I've done on this car, because I generally am one of those people, when stuff needs doing, I just crack on and get it done. But yeah, I got no complaints. It's been a truly amazing car. As always, thank you for watching.